If you have ever trusted a wrong person, this story is for you. You are going to see how really people change. Yes, let us go deep in this story. Remember to like, share, and comment the country you are watching in.
In the heart of the bustling, vibrant city of Lagos, there stood a grand and beautiful house that was known by all the neighbors for its tall gates and the beautiful flowers that climbed up the white walls. Inside this house lived a very wealthy man named Chidi, who had worked extremely hard for many years to build his successful business empire. And he was a man who truly valued peace, honesty, and a warm welcome after a long day of hard work. However, the atmosphere inside his home was far from peaceful because his wife, whose name was Ngozi, had changed over the years and had become someone who was constantly unhappy, always shouting about small things and showing very little care or respect for the man who provided such a wonderful life for her. Ngozi would often sit on the expensive velvet sofa in the living room, complaining loudly about the quality of the furniture or the way the house was decorated, never once asking Chidi how his day had gone or if he was feeling tired from the heavy responsibilities he carried on his shoulders every single day. She spent most of her time looking at her phone or talking to her friends about people she did not like, and whenever Chidi walked through the front door, she would not even look up to greet him, but would instead roll her eyes and let out a long, dramatic sigh as if his very presence was an annoyance to her busy schedule. In this same large house worked a young woman named Amara, who was 25 years old and had come to work as a house girl to support her family back in her village. And even though she had very little for herself, she possessed a heart that was filled with gold and a spirit that remained incredibly bright and humble, regardless of how difficult her tasks might have been. Amara was the one who woke up before the sun had even touched the horizon to sweep the floors, clean the kitchen, and make sure that every corner of the house was sparkling clean so that Chidi would not have to worry about a single thing when he returned from his office. She was a very quiet and hard-working person who understood the value of doing a job well, and whenever she moved through the rooms, she did so with a gentle grace that brought a sense of calm to the otherwise chaotic household. Amara would often hear Ngozi raising her voice at Chidi over things that did not matter, like the color of the curtains or the fact that the driver was 5 minutes late, and every single time she heard these harsh words, Amara would feel a deep sadness in her heart because she knew that Chidi was a good man who deserved so much more love than what he was currently receiving from the woman he had promised to cherish for the rest of his life. Amara never complained about her long hours or the heavy chores she had to finish because she believed that as long as she was honest and did her work with a happy heart, she was doing the right thing, and she often prayed that the tension in the house would one day fade away like the morning mist over the Lagos lagoon. One evening, the sun was setting over the city of Lagos, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and purple. when Chidi stepped out of his car and walked toward his front door, feeling heavier than usual because he had spent the entire day dealing with difficult meetings and tough business decisions. As soon as he walked into the hallway, he heard Ngozi shouting at one of the staff members about a glass of water that was not cold enough, and when he tried to offer her a polite greeting, she just brushed past him without saying a single word or even acknowledging that he had finally returned home. Chidi felt a sharp pain in his chest because he was a man who believed in the importance of family, and he realized that he had spent years working so hard to provide a beautiful life for someone who did not even care enough to smile at him when he walked through the door. He walked slowly into the kitchen feeling very tired, and that was when he saw Amara quietly arranging a tray with a bowl of warm pepper soup and some fresh water, her face showing a kind and gentle smile that made the room feel much brighter than it had been only a few seconds before. Amara looked up and saw that Chidi looked very exhausted, so she spoke in a soft and respectful voice as she told him that she had prepared his favorite meal just the way he liked it, making sure it was hot and nourishing enough to help him recover from his long and stressful day. Chidi was surprised by her kindness because it had been a very long time since anyone had taken the time to notice if he was hungry or tired, and as he sat down at the small table in the corner of the kitchen, he watched as Amara moved around the room with such purpose and care. She did not ask for anything in return, and she did not try to complain about the way the day had gone, but instead she asked him if he had been able to get some rest during his busy afternoon, showing a level of empathy that was truly rare and beautiful. As he ate the delicious meal, Chidi realized that Amara was a person who truly valued hard work and respect. And even though she was just the house girl, she possessed more maturity and goodness in her little finger than his own wife had shown him in all the years they had spent living together in this grand house. For the first time in a long time, the heavy weight on his shoulders felt a little bit lighter, and he found himself wanting to stay in the kitchen just to talk to Amara because her presence was like a cooling breeze on a hot afternoon. He realized that the happiness he had been searching for was not found in the expensive things he had bought for his home, but in the simple, honest, and caring way that this young woman treated him, and his heart started to open up to the possibility that he had been living in a house that was empty of love for much longer than he had ever wanted to admit to himself. As the days turned into weeks, the atmosphere inside the Grand Lagos home began to shift in a way that was very clear to everyone who lived there, even if no one wanted to speak about it out loud. Ngozi continued to spend her afternoons lounging on the expensive furniture, her voice often rising in sharp, impatient tones whenever she demanded that things be changed or that people move faster to satisfy her every whim. She had stopped trying to hide her unhappiness, and every time Chidi walked through the front door, she treated his arrival as nothing more than a signal that she could finally start complaining about her day or demanding money for things she did not even need. It was as if she had forgotten that a marriage was meant to be a partnership of love and respect, treating Chidi more like a machine that existed only to serve her desires rather than a man who needed support and kindness. Meanwhile, the contrast between her behavior and the way Amara moved through the house became even more obvious, as Amara remained a pillar of quiet strength and gentle grace that did not go unnoticed by the man who owned the house. Chidi found himself spending more and more time in the areas of the house where Amara was working, not because he was looking for anything specific, but because he found comfort in the way she handled her duties with such pride and dignity. Whenever he entered a room, Amara would always pause what she was doing to offer a genuine, respectful greeting, her eyes always bright with kindness, and her posture reflecting a person who felt happy to be contributing to a home that was well maintained. Chidi started to notice the small details of her character, such as how she would carefully organize his books, or how she would always make sure the house was filled with the fresh scent of clean linens and polished wood. He saw how she treated the other staff members with the same respect she showed him, never raising her voice and always willing to help someone else even when her own work was not yet finished. The divide between the two women became a canyon that was impossible to ignore, as Ngozi's bitterness seemed to grow deeper with every passing hour, while Amara's light only seemed to grow brighter and more steady. Chidi started to compare the two in his mind, realizing that he had spent his life working hard to provide for someone who did not appreciate him, while a young woman who was supposed to be just a helper was the one who actually made him feel like a person. He began to see the way Ngozi would glare at him if he showed any appreciation for a job well done, or how she would laugh in a cruel way if he mentioned a small achievement at his business, making him feel smaller and less important in his own home. Amara, on the other hand, would always listen with interest whenever he spoke, and her thoughtful questions made him feel like his opinions and his feelings were finally being heard by someone who truly cared. The quiet appreciation that Amara showed him was a balm to his tired spirit, and he found that he was no longer looking forward to sitting in the living room with his wife, but instead, he was finding reasons to talk to Amara about life, about the city of Lagos, and about the dreams she had for her own future, which were always filled with hope and a desire to be a better person. The tension in the home eventually reached a breaking point, and Chidi knew he could no longer live in a house that felt more like a battlefield than a sanctuary. One evening, after a particularly unkind outburst from Ngozi over a minor issue, Chidi calmly stood up and told her that he had reached his limit. He explained in a firm but quiet voice that a marriage cannot survive without mutual respect, and that her constant bitterness had destroyed the foundation of their life together. He informed her that he was ending their marriage, but because he was a man of integrity, he arranged for her to have everything she needed to move into a comfortable place of her own, ensuring she would be well taken care of, even though they would no longer share life. Ngozi was shocked, but Chidi did not waver from his decision, as he knew it was the only way to find his peace again. After she had gathered her belongings and left the grand house for the last time, the silence that followed was not lonely, but rather it felt like a deep breath of fresh, clean air. Chidi sat in his living room for a long time, looking at the empty space where his wife used to sit and complain, and he felt a profound sense of relief wash over him. He realized that by letting go of a relationship that was built on disrespect, he had finally opened the door for true happiness to enter his home. He looked around the house, which now felt more like his own, and he understood that he was ready to start a new chapter, one that was defined not by status or wealth, but by the kindness and character of the people he chose to share his life with. Following the departure of his former wife, Chidi took time to reflect on what truly mattered to him, and he realized that the happiness he had been seeking was standing right in front of him all along. He spent more time getting to know Amara, seeing her wisdom, her humility, and her genuine heart, and he realized that she was the partner he had been waiting for his entire life. With a heart full of joy, he expressed his deep love and admiration for her, telling her how her kindness had transformed his home and his spirit. Amara, who had always been faithful and respectful, felt a deep sense of gratitude, and they soon began a new, beautiful life together, built on a foundation of true love and mutual support. Chidi, wanting to honor her intelligence and hard work, entrusted her with the management of one of his major businesses, knowing that she would handle it with the same care and integrity that she had shown in their home. It was a wonderful sight to see, as a girl who once worked as a house girl stepped into a new life as a successful and respected businesswoman, standing right beside her husband as an equal. The people of Lagos looked on with admiration, seeing a story that proved that kindness, hard work, and a good heart can take a person to heights they never imagined. They lived a life filled with laughter, shared dreams, and a deep appreciation for the journey that brought them together, creating a beautiful ending that reminded everyone that love is always found where respect and honesty reside.